there's no shame in asking for help. If what I'm trying to do is learn, then clearly I don't have all the answers, and so I'm going to ask other people. My name is Minesh Shah. I'm an investment director at Infrared Capital Partners, an asset manager in infrastructure and real estate. What that means in practice is investors put their trust in Infrared to manage their money, and so that we earn them a steady return by investing that money in infrastructure and real estate. Now, an example of things we invest in are wind farms, solar farms, hospitals, buildings, school buildings, high-speed rail, utilities like water companies, roads. And specifically within that, I help manage a fund that invests in renewable energy projects. It's called the Renewables Infrastructure Group, or TRIG for short. It's over £2 billion in size. And to put that into context of what TRIG does, it produces enough clean energy to power 1 million homes. I started my career in 2007-8 when the credit crisis was occurring. And I suppose the credit crisis happened about 2 months into my first job. And it was directly affecting the team I was working in, as people around me were losing jobs, and mine was pretty uncertain. And I learned two things from that. One is, in times of uncertainty, when you're not sure what your own outlook looks like, having people around you whose advice you value, they don't have to be in your field. They just have to be able to ask you the questions that you should be thinking of. And then it's up to you to think of what the right answer is for you. And then the second is to have skills or an alternative you can fall back on. That's why when I left Credit Suisse, I trained as a chartered accountant. And I'd say the third challenge I've had in my career so far is how I come across and do I fit in the environment that I'm in. The key here is seeking feedback from those you trust. I think I come back to the fact having people around you who you trust and will be open and giving you feedback. And you have to be open to taking on frank feedback and thinking about how you change your approach, adapt your approach to the environment you're getting into. And I think you'd be surprised what you can learn, but I think you need patience and need to give it time and practice. It's not always easy at first, but over time, with practice, it can come. When I was at school, I was a bit of a bookworm, very much study focused. The kind of extracurricular activities I did were quite quiet. It was kind of music and things like that. And I think that the change for me was at university. I took up sport, so suddenly you're kind of in a very different crowd, but also I got involved in kind of helping organize things for the student body as part of kind of the common room, the union, and so on. So it's beginning to help shape what people are doing, forcing yourself to interact. And I think those around you want you to succeed as well, and they help guide you to do that. The traits are universal. People can, if they go to university, they could do a whole wide array of degrees and yet end up in the same job. Equally, going to university is not necessarily necessary to end up in the right job. It's those traits that you have within you. I think firstly, it's passion for whatever you've chosen to undertake. Make sure it's a positive choice. It's a choice for the right reasons and you're passionate about it. So secondly, it's curiosity. the thirst to learn more. And you've heard from some of my other comments that one of my driving factors was seeking to learn either new skills, new knowledge, something that makes you grow, and having that curiosity is important. The third skill I think that's important is the ability to work in partnership with others. There's not a whole lot of jobs out there where you're working on your own. Even if it's your own business, your own startup, you're going to have to interact with other people from other organizations. If you work in a corporate or in an organization, then you're going to have to work with your team members. So it's being able to form those partnerships and those connections. And then alongside that is trust. And when I'm looking at someone, I'm trying to gauge, can I trust them to deliver? Can I trust their output? And also, can I trust that they will ask for help when they need it? Because there's no shame in asking for help. If what I'm trying to do is learn, then clearly I don't have all the answers. And so I'm going to ask other people. And I want to know that those people I hire are going to ask me when they don't know. For me, certainly, as I went through my school years and then into university, and you realize actually, not everyone has all the answers, right? The fact that you don't have the answer to one question, someone else doesn't have the answer to another question. And when you're with people who acknowledge that you're all trying to learn together, then actually, I think that's where you can find your own voice, because you will have something you're passionate about, you can talk about, and that other people can learn from. And equally, other people will have something to teach you. And it's that dialogue, it's starting that dialogue. And it starts with being confident about what you do know. And then, like I said, it's about learning new knowledge and new skills, and you'll gradually gain confidence in other areas. And then it comes back to practice, that if there is something you want to be able to do better, it's putting yourself in that bit uncomfortable position, trying out new things, practice. And like I said, it won't necessarily be the first time, second time, or even fifth time, but maybe by the 10th time you've done it, you'll be able to do it well. I see plenty of people, even in the workplace, who are experienced professionals who can find presenting quite difficult. And it's when they actually say, you know what, I want to give it a go, I want to get better at that. Hey, will someone teach me? We get a coach in, they give them the skills, they test them out, and they practice. And then they put themselves out there in a situation that's a little outside the box. That's when they start improving. Well, and I suppose it's also thinking tangentially, thinking about people you wouldn't immediately consider as being in your network. Maybe it's a friend's parent or something like that, but really thinking broadly about who your network, like in LinkedIn, you have your first connections, but you have your second order connections. Who are your second order connections that you could potentially get to? And ask your first order connections to make that introduction. What's the worst the person can say? It's no. And the best they can say is yes. You speak to the second order connection. Again, the worst they can say is no, but the best they can say is yes. And if they say no, you've lost nothing other than having asked the question, but you've not really lost anything. But if they say yes, then there's a potential win in there for you.